You've seen tanks 1, 2, and 3. Now it's time for something a little bit different, a little bit smaller. This is the Tank Mini 8849 by Unihertz. Is sent this along for review, and if you could see right away, it is a miniaturized version of the larger tanks. It's not going to weigh in over a pound like some of those big beasts. This one comes in about 8.5 ounces, so it's still a commitment in the pocket, about 240 grams, right on par with your S24 Ultras and those type of devices. But for what you get, it's kind of interesting because it brings a lot of the features that people love about the Unihertz tank designs down to a smaller form factor, which makes it a little bit more pocketable. Because a pound and a quarter, I think the Tank 2 was a pound and or the Tank 3 was a pound and a third, so it really starts to get up there in terms of the weight of the device. So this kind of brings it, some of those features down to something that you could easily carry around. It's a 4.3-inch LCD display, so it kind of gives you some idea on the size of the device. So let's talk about it. You'll kind of look around the design. It's got the red and blue flashing LEDs, which has become a tank feature for some reason. If you want to get arrested for impersonating a law enforcement officer, we have the LED flash. We have the 100 megapixel camera, which we'll show a sample of a little bit later on. The 800 lumen camping lamp, which is still plenty bright. It's not the over 1,000 of some of the other tank units, but it still gets the job done. And what's great is that you can use it for photography. So if you have a scene at night that you really want lit, this will absolutely get the job done. Can't be used on video, only photography, but that still is quite a nice feature that you get to use there. Along the side, you're going to have the fingerprint sensor and the sleep-wake. You're going to have 2 function keys, which you could program. This one I have you could have one to Twitter, you could have one to apps, you could go through the entire thing. We'll show that in a minute when we go over the software. You've got the kind of lanyard strap here, which has become a feature of the Unihertz tank devices. Then you have the flap, IP68, dust and water resistant. You have the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, so all the crowd pleasers are here as well. USB-C charging, 33-watt charging, but with the 5,800 milliamp hour battery, pushing only a Helio G99 and a 4.3-inch LCD display. That lasts as long as you can imagine. It's an all-day plus battery. Plus, you could use this as a power bank. You could plug in another device and charge off of that. So if you have some spare wattage there that you need, that your friend needs when you're camping, you could go ahead and plug in their device as well. Volume up and down, a SIM tray, but also doubles as the micro SD expandable storage. So you're going to get 256 gigs to start, but you could throw in your micro SD card expandable storage, which was a favorite. Some of the tanks had it, some of the tanks didn't, but that has been a requested feature for a lot of them. You're going to see the rangefinder up top. That was a feature of the Tank 3. They've brought it down. They miniaturized it down to the Tank Mini and the IR blaster. So you have all the kind of creature comforts that people love on these devices. A bit thicker, of course. We're going to put it up against, here's the video we're doing tomorrow. This is the S22 Ultra. So you can see quite a bit thicker, but also quite a bit smaller. If you're familiar with that, you kind of got a smaller footprint on this device here. So like I said, 4.3-inch LCD display, not quite 720p, but you're really not going to matter or mind that much because of the small size. It's not really that big of a deal. Helio G99, I understand, a bit older, but it works quite well. You're going to pull up whatever. Not really going to have an issue with it. Twitter works fine, nice and smooth. I really had no problems with Instagram or anything like that. So all the basic functions that you're going to want to do are here and are done well on the Tank Mini. I just like the fact that they've been able to take the form factor and kind of the ruggedized bit and brought it down to something like this. So it's essentially it's a ruggedized jelly, if you've seen their jelly series, or it beefs it up a little bit. I think the Atom is on the smaller side as well. So if you've been looking for that outstanding battery life and you don't mind a smaller phone, a lot of people want something that's a little on the smaller side. This is, 4.3 inches. That would be considered large for a smartphone, not that long ago. So that's something that you get here, kind of calling back to that. The 100 megapixel camera is what it is. You're not going to get the computational photography. You're not getting the best color, but it does a decent job. In good lighting, you're going to have a decent representative photo. Performance, like I said, runs well. 12 gigabytes of RAM. Android 13. Is it going to be upgraded monthly with feature drops and all the rest of it? No. Unihertz has done a better job in the last couple years of getting updates out for these devices, especially when they notice there's a bug or something like that, or an issue that they really need to take care of. Then software updates have been coming out. And usually when you see a new device come out, they'll throw an update down to some of the older devices as well. There was a thing I wanted to show you. Oh, the function key. So if we can go through shortcut settings. So you got here. So you got quite the selection here. So you could go into the shortcut settings, and you could pretty much have any app that you want, all apps, and you could kind of launch them as you wish here. Messages, NFC, you have on this as well. Pokemon Go, you could go with Pokemon Go, runs just fine, no problems. Discord, or you could pull up an individual function of the device. The other thing I like about it that I've used a lot more than I thought is the rangefinder. It is pretty accurate, does work. I've used it in rooms, kind of tested it. Hey, how far away is this? How far away is that? And kind of areas that I know the measurements of, and it's pretty accurate. It says it's accurate within a millimeter. Am I going to bet my life on within a millimeter? No, probably not, but it does a good job of measuring. You could get area measure, distance measure, volume measure, give it 3 measurements. It's going to do a volume measurement, which is quite good. It does feet and meters as well. So overall, pretty cool. And then, of course, with these devices, with the Unihertz devices, you get the regular toolbox that you could see here, which flashlight, stuff like that, camping lamp, which will get you the lumens on the back of the device, pressure. It's got a decibel noise test, some stuff like that. Just cool stuff that you'd use outdoors in a rugged environment that you'd want on hand there. Like I said, don't use the... Do yourself a favor. It's cool. Maybe if you want to scare a bear away, you can use the warning lamps here. But when encountering road disasters, man, it opens. Oh, okay, interesting. So there you go. You get the flashing there. Don't do that. Like I said, but you could use it. The camping lamp works as it has in previous tanks. You kind of go back in here, camping lamp, and you get the SOS, which is the explosion flash, and you could do SOS if you're lost in the woods or something like that, and you think there's aerial help on the way, then you could go ahead, and you could see, just look at that. That is just, that 800 lumens out of such a small device certainly gets the job done. And then battery life for days. If you're using it like a regular device, you do the math on that. I've had, standby drain is non-existent on this. You're talking less than 1% overnight battery drain. So you're not going to have an issue there. So if you're out for several days, it's not going to be much of an issue. Plus, you're not using the device. If you're out camping, you're out in the outdoors, your bicycle, whatever it happens to be on one of these longer treks, you're not using your phone that much. If you're checking in for an hour, you want social media, you are limited to 4G on this guy here, no 5G on the Tank Mini. But overall, for $270, link in the description, is on sale, kind of a pre-order sale. I think they're shipping these in April. For $270, pretty darn good phone when you think about what you get between the IP68 dust and water resistance. You get the old creature comforts such as the headphone jack and the IR blaster, and the G99, which does a good enough job. But plus you get that rugged design and the huge outlandish battery on the in a form factor this small that you could use on other devices. You could charge other things. You could have it out there with friends. It has a decent enough camera that you could take photos of the things that you find in the wild, and you have the rangefinder, so you can see how far away that bear or wolf is and whether you should keep your distance or not. But overall, I like it. I love the tank form factor, the industrial design. I love the fact that they've brought it down to something a little bit more pocketable. So if you've wanted that tank feel and you've wanted a rugged phone, and you see all these rugged phones, but they're absolutely massive and over a pound and all the rest of it, the Tank Mini gives you an option, sub a pound, 8.4 ounces, that you could really put in your pocket, have outstanding battery life if you work at construction site or HVAC, or you go camping or whatever, and you need great standby battery drain, non-existent battery drain, and you need outlandish battery life out of a device so small. This is certainly one that you're going to want to consider. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.